our partnership with XA Score came out of the idea of building a better relationship and a better rapport with our players, and making sure that they understand how important it is to get their bodies right and to get their minds right, and to make sure that they understand that we're not just coaching you as the football player. We want to coach you as the person. We want to make sure that you're getting the sleep and eating the right way and maintaining the body weight, while also being able to open doors for our players to come in and talk to us if they have something going on without, knocking on the door, and being able to report that in a daily report and see who's really, honest with it and struggling. And then it allows us as coaches to make sure that we're able to, hey, dude, come on in. And it helps us coach those kids too. A guy that's having a bad day, can get coached a little bit differently than a guy that's, at an elite mindset. And so I think it's been really good for us. The objective that we've had to really build that rapport and that relationship with the young man. And it's opened up avenues for us to keep, leveling up as we go within their freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year. We want those kids to love this place. And I think this is a big part of helping that. One of the challenges that we had initially before we had this was, you kind of just had to watch body language and see how guys were talking to each other and understanding, that not everybody's going to be honest with you, and you can pull a kid aside and do all those things that you want, but you really want to make sure that you're doing your best job to be there for that person. And I think this just allows us to make sure that they know that we're monitoring this and like, hey, we do care about you and we are going to call you in. The buy-in right away, getting on the app and making sure that it works and making sure that the guys understand that you got to wait for the green check mark and all those things. We instituted a pretty decent policy, like, hey, if you don't do this, you don't get to practice, you don't get to go to weights, like, and it just allows the guys to become part of their daily routine. And I think we've done a pretty good job of implementing that. We heard about it from one of our coaching buddies and a guy that Coach Hyman's been somebody we recruited his son. He obviously spoke highly of it, and then we had a person on our staff, Coach Zimmer, that had used that down at the college that they were at. So I think just the word of mouth and understanding that this works, and I'm like, well, if it works, like, work works, man, so let's work. And I think that it's been a really positive thing for us within our program. I touched on that a little bit. It was getting the buy-in and making sure that the guys understand that this is for them. This isn't for us to mandate and to punish and to hold something else over your head as a football player. I mean, these guys have a ton of things going on. But I also think that they truly understand and respect that we care about them. And so it took a little bit to buy in and make sure that they knew, like, I don't want to do another thing. Well, it's not just doing another thing. It's now a part of your daily routine and making sure that you know how important it is to us that we're taking care of you. I think so. And, we've had, since we implemented this, and this is a number that I wasn't ready to say out loud, we only had 3 young men leave our program and quit this year. That number on a college football team that has 150 players on it is kind of insane to me. There's got to be other things that come up where guys leave, right? But I think it was a really good thing for us to implement because it showed in the retention of our student athlete. And I believe that, especially in football, and I think it goes across all sports, the best teams are older. When you start looking at it, their freshmen become sophomores, their sophomores become juniors, their juniors become seniors. And if you're losing too many kids at that lower level, that freshman, that sophomore, and you're not graduating the development of the young man, then you're not going to be as good as you want to be. And so I think we've done a really good job of understanding that, hey, this is helping us retain students. That's been a huge impact for us because now these guys become the best friends for the rest of their lives. And part of it is because they're still here. And I think that's a really cool thing. Our coaches check it every morning. One example for me was a young man, one of our tight ends. His brother's going through some stuff back home with a sickness. The parents were struggling and talking about the D word and potentially getting divorced and things that are pretty tight knit to him. But he's not the type of kid that's just going to come in and cry on my shoulder. But after a couple of days of him, putting a 2 down and losing some body weight, not sleeping very well, we called him in and was like, hey, dude, what's going on? Like, this isn't you. Like, this isn't how you are. And he kind of spilled his beans, and it opened that door to say these things out loud, which I think helped him. And now he was able to talk to somebody about it when in reality he was probably the type of kid that just pushed everything down and wasn't comfortable talking about it until it was brought up to him. And so the fact that he was honest with it, was something that we early detected, and then we were able to coach that kid better, instead of chewing his ass and getting on him and making him feel like, everything's coming down on his shoulder. Like, hey, dude, you jumped off sides. Let's go take a walk around the track. Let's see what's really going on. And I think that was a positive impact on him and his experience and what he's doing. Our guys talk about it in a way now, as opposed to the beginning when it was just like, oh, another thing I got to do. But our guys talk about it now like, why am I losing this much weight? Or holy cow, I need to get more sleep. And I think our guys are becoming a little bit more aware of their well-being. And I think that that's important. Like being able to self-assess and say, hey, I need to sleep more. Hey, I need to take in some more water after practice or after weights. Hey, you look at that question and says, how are you feeling today? You have two choices. Like you can lie about it and say, I don't want to deal with coach, so I want to put a 5. Or you can be honest with it and like, I'm not really doing good. And now that kid comes to a crossroads of like, I need to talk to somebody, or I need to at least put this down so maybe coach reaches out to me. And I think it helps them process in their head. And I think our guys are starting to become more aware of that. Talked about the retention already. Only losing 3 young men in our football program this year was phenomenal. But recruiting, this is something that we're definitely telling the parents that we have, and making sure that they understand that we're monitoring their mental health and their well-being. And I think it's a real strong point that we're making for parents that are sending their kid away to college for the first time. So it's been phenomenal for us. I bought it out of our budget. I got the okay from our athletic administration, and it's in our first year, so we're still gonna be able to put the reports together and show them how important it's been to us. We're still in the early stages of that, but it's been a very positive experience with our admin. One of the things I like is just the schedule and making sure that the guys know what the hell is going on, and making sure that they have those alarms set and those things that are popping up, and they remind them, these guys are busy, and I get it, and being in college everything seems like it's drastically bigger than probably what it is, but we're preparing these guys for real life. And so having a structure and having a standard and having an expectation every day that you wake up, I think is only setting them up for success. And I think it's going to be really good as these guys go into their future businesses or whatever the heck that it is that they do. I think they're going to be successful because they understand how important being able to look in the mirror and see how you're doing is going to be in their future. But no, I like everything that's going on. Like I said, it's our first year, but we're pretty excited about the future of our relationship.